Could not start two connections. So we're live somewhere. I don't know where we're live. Let me have a look at the two connections. This doesn't like Instagram, and now it doesn't like Facebook. We'll just have to do it with YouTube and on Zoom. I wonder if it is the internet connection. I will check it. So thanks if you're jumping in on YouTube. We've got a bit of a dodgy internet at the minute, so hopefully the video records okay. We are going to work on our movement as usual on Wednesday and focus on the spine, focus on the back, but of course we're working with everything anyway. So we'll do some of our fun squats too. So find a comfortable starting position, taking your feet shoulder width apart, tall through the spine. So if we're thinking, Kiefer just mentioned about back muscles, if you're thinking back muscles, remember what we talk about in terms of lifting from the crown and the fact that that central rotational axis running through the body. If we're in this position, then all of the upper back here starts to work and all the muscles start to work harder to support the head. So have that head balanced on top of the spine. And interestingly, I had a conversation, we had an Oxygen Advantage group meeting last night, and we were talking, someone was talking about mouth and tongue position and tongue tied, and a lot of this, the tongue position also affects your posture. So just be aware that as we are standing tall, you have the tongue almost like pressing a little bit on the roof of the mouth if you can. So that tongue is pushing up. So if you press the tongue on the roof of the mouth, rather than just rest, I know we talk a lot about resting the tongue on the roof of the mouth, push the tongue up on the roof of the mouth. Watch you not over tightening the jaw. And almost like use that to lift your head up. So you get nice and tall, lifting from the crown. And that then creates the structure of the fascia to be able to support the head on top of the spine. It's really key because everything we're doing when we're doing spine movement all works from that central rotational axis. So if we're doing knocking, we're moving around that central axis. So just keep the tall spine and then just free up shoulders, arms. And just breathing easy in and out through the nose. I'm getting some frozen shots on Zoom, so I hope this is running okay so you can see and I'm not freezing all of the time, because we want a nice flow of movement, not sticky staccato movement. So just rotating through the spine. And really focusing on between the shoulder blades, relaxing the shoulder blades. Relaxing into the hips. And then just gradually slowing down into water waves. Again, keeping that spine long. And then take a rest. Standing tall. Again, just check in with that tongue position. Another little, actually, as I was just saying to the Zoom group, we did an Oxygen Advantage coaches get together last night. Andrew did a nice little bit in terms of posture with balance and hip position. So we can, I'll nick this off Andrew. So we'll just lock out the knees. So lock the knees out. And notice what happens when you lock the knees out. It's just like you almost get that curve in the lower, too much of a curve in the lower back there. We almost tilt the pelvis, so we're spilling everything out front. And then soften the knees. And just imagine, we've done this before, just imagine you've got like a little bit of a weight on the tailbone. So we're not squeezing the glutes, you're not tucking the glutes underneath or tucking the pelvis underneath. You just imagine you've got that little weight on the tailbone, and that sort of helps you balance the rest of the body on top of the pelvis area. So just do a few of that. Lock out the knees without hurting. Obviously, if you've got any pain in the knees, don't overdo this, but lock out the knees, because that's what we tend to do a lot. Then everything tightens up. And then soften the knees and just take that little bit of weight on the tailbone. So almost like it just gives that little bit of ease in the lower back there. And then you can lift and lengthen there. If you feel in this position you're suddenly putting quite a lot of weight through the heels, because if you're like, well, I'm coming back a little bit, just shift that weight slightly forward so you've got a little bit more connection through the bubbling spring, through the ball of the foot. So let's do that a couple more times. Lock out the knees. And then soften the knees and just let that tailbone drop, I suppose is a good way of putting it. So just ease that, take that ease out of that lower back. And then watch that we're not in this position. So then strong here, lift and lengthen, tall here. Again, just maybe if you need to just adjust the position on the heels and the ball of the foot. We've done this before where you can just focus on just moving that center of gravity forwards and backwards. And then just find that sweet spot where you're balanced. Let's do one more. Lock out the knees. Soften the knees. Drop the tailbone a little bit. Lengthen the spine. Shake out a little bit if you need to. Shift your weight forwards and backwards. Dantian forwards and backwards. Balance, balance, balance. And take a rest. I think the thing is, when we're looking at posture, is not to overdo it, because again we can get so like, oh, I need to be standing like this and I've got one leg longer than the other. We've got to work with what we've got, and we don't want to overthink things. It's difficult, particularly as you get older, is like adjusting the body. We don't want to over adjust or try to be doing things in too much of a perfect way, because we're not going to be able to do it. So what I like is just finding those little sweet spots of balance, and just going back to what we talked about on Monday, actually, about that combination of strength and softness. Where do we need to be strong? Nice and strong here. Nice and strong here. We can relax. We can relax the lower back a little bit. We can relax the chest a little bit. And the more you just tune into that every so often, the more your body will respond to that. Let's do a little bit of tilting the pelvis. So it's a bit like the spinal cord breathing. It's a bit like a mini full body flow. So again, this is nice. Think of the back muscles and the spine. The pelvis is leading. So this time I am tilting the pelvis, the chin and the chest lead, and then you tuck the pelvis underneath and you come back up. So tilt the pelvis, come back up. Really nice one. Make sure you've got plenty of space, that you're about shoulder width apart with the feet. Otherwise, you get a little bit tight like this. So a nice stable base. Get that ripple through the spine. I listened back to, I can't remember whether it was Monday or what, one of the videos, because I couldn't work out whether it had sound on or not when I was posting it. And you can hear my collarbone clicking when I'm doing this because the mic is so close to my chest. I'm like, is that my body clicking, body popping? So it's quite fun. Nice flowing movement. Let's do 2 more. And then take a rest. And you can walk the feet in. And again, just check in, tall through the spine. And then stepping back out. Let's just do palm down, earth and sky. So remember, in terms of Qigong, we're going earth, sky. That's a nice one to do because again, it lengthens the spine out. And then you get that nice lengthening here through the armpit as well. And then swap. And again, you're getting that nice length through here. So we're not tilting or anything yet. I'm not overreaching, I'm not trying to reach the ceiling, I'm keeping that shoulder down and I'm getting that nice stretch here. And again, just keep swapping side to side, slow, do it nice and slow. Feel how it's lengthening out the muscles down the back as well. Feel the muscles on the spine. Notice there's a little bit of roundness in the elbow here. I'm not reaching really high up. I'm not straining. There's no strain to this. There's a very smooth, fluid, effortless movement. Same with the breath. I'm just breathing softly, easily. I'm not straining. I'm not holding. When you go slow, you can really tune in to where you feel maybe any tightness, tension. You can ease into that. You can gently encourage the fascia, the muscles to lengthen rather than pull and try and stretch them. Do a couple more. And then take a rest. Make sure you've got a little bit of space behind you. And the way we will, I think you can see there, yeah, it's good. So I can just move that camera out a bit because you can't see. Oh, in, out, there we go. Make sure you've got a little bit of space behind you so you can take a step back onto the ball of that back foot. I'm just going to show you from the side. So I've got the weight on this front foot and I'm just stepping back and I'm just resting also the weight on that back foot. So you're nice and stable between both. You are hip width apart, so I'm not out here or anything like that with that back foot. So you're hip width apart, and you're pretty, let's say you're pretty evenly weighted here, back foot, front foot. Some of you on Zoom, I can see it could be the camera. It could be the camera, but it looks as if, Keith, it looks as if you're a little bit wide here. So make sure you're on the hip width apart there. And so you can get nice and solid and stable. And then we just do the same thing, lengthen. And then the foot that you stepped back on, you lean away from. And then we come back to the center. And then as we swap, we slowly step forwards. Now that step forwards is not throwing yourself forwards, it's just stepping forwards. And then step back. Do this very deliberately. Balance. And then lengthen. And lean. And here you can push through below and push through over the top. And you keep breathing. And then you step forwards. So do it slowly. Step back, balance. Always lengthen first. Lengthen the spine first. And then just keep going side to side. And once you've worked out the stages that you're always balanced and supported, then you can just really settle into the flow. And it's like with all the slow movements that we're doing, you want to be able to stop that movement anywhere. So if I need to stop or change direction, you need to be able to do that. You're not just throwing yourself into a position. Do a couple more. And then take a rest. Good. Have a little shake out. Let's play around with some tigers, some squats. So we've done some of these where we've just been slightly challenging ourselves in the squat. Start off just with the simple tiger, so feet shoulder width apart, slightly turned out. Remember, we're just hinging at the hips to sit back, knees glide over toes. We get that nice engagement through the fingers, so that strengthens the back and the spine. And we just do some very simple breathing is soft and light. Again, remember you could stop at any part of this movement. You could have a look around. You could see what's going on at any part of this movement. Slowly coming up. Keep that chest lifted, so chest open. And if you can, just that little bit deeper, but again, we're not forcing, we're not creating strain. You're not holding the breath, breathing easy. And take a rest. Have a little shake out if you need to shake out. So we're going to make it subtly different this time. We're going to do that little bit of a weight shift. So as we go down, I'll show you from the side, have in mind you've got that weight through the heels. So the heels are nice and strong. But as we come forwards, I want a little bit of weight shift towards the ball of the foot. You don't have to raise the heels as such, but it's almost as if you're going to go, I'm going to go forwards. So just a very sort of weight shift towards the bubbling spring. Start activating the bubbling spring, that point on the ball of the foot. So it's just strong going down, nice and solid. And then I'm feeling as if I'm going to start to move forwards as you come up. So connecting the bubbling spring. The bubbling spring is going to be there anyway, but just that real focus. Let's do a couple more, just with that focus on that very subtle weight shift. Good, and take a rest. And then the next stage, if you feel comfortable, we'll do exactly the same thing. Just watch first, coming down, weight shift, but then come up onto the balls of the feet as you're coming up. Now, if you've got any ankle issues, if your calves are really tight, if you start to get any pain, or if you start to tighten everything up and hold the breath, then it's maybe just a little bit too much. Just stay just with that weight shift, or just gently raise the heels. So again, I don't want to force anything, but I just want to really play around with quite challenging movements, because you're lifting your whole of your body weight there in a bubbling spring. And just really take your time. Make sure when you come to the top that you lengthen out, we don't just stop here. Make sure you lengthen out the whole body, that you stand tall at the top there. And if you can and you're on the bubbling spring, that's great. I'm getting some clunks and creaks. Can just stay on the heels if you need to stay on the heels. If you want to challenge yourself that little bit, raising the bubbling spring as you come up. Oh, I nearly fell over. Let's do a couple more. Full length, lengthen that whole body up as you come up to standing. There's a squirrel watching me over there. And shake the legs out, and now it's running up the tree. It is literally staring in, going, what's they doing in there? Have a little shake out. Should feel that in the legs. If you've done that, it should feel quite nice. And remember, if you are running, particularly running, every time you land and that the opposite leg swings through, you are raising the bubbling spring as you step through. Now, what I don't want you to think about is pushing, but that is what you're doing, is you're lengthening up and stepping through. So the more you get used to this type of movement, get that foot flexed, stretch the fascia working, the plantar fascia working, then you're going to get that natural land and step through. Do not push. It's not about landing and pushing, but you want to get that absorption of the force, and that absorption of the force moves you through. Good. Have a little bit of a shake. Let's do a curtsy squat. We haven't done a curtsy squat for a while. If I'm mirroring you, we're going to balance on the left, and then we just use your arms however you need to use your arms. Pick up that right foot, and then just bend that right knee, the left knee, and then you just curtsy in. You can go low, and then you come back up, and then swap sides. Balance on the opposite side. Take your time. Again, if any pain or anything, just stop. Stepping side to side. It's like you're using that trail leg as a tail. See how far you can get that tail around. Keeping that chest lifted as always. Oh, I nearly fell over. There's something in the way there. I keep kicking my foot on the bean bags. I'll balance again. Let's do one more each side. And then rest. Have a good shake out. Shake those legs, shake those ankles. Might feel it in your ankles and your hips a little bit. Stand tall, shake the shoulders, shake the arms. Let's do a few cleansing and clearing breaths. And slowing it down, pulling down the sky, breathing in, breathing out. And then interlocking, just a few moments of bamboo in the wind, just to let your body rebalance. Have in mind strength, softness, strong through that center line, lengthening the spine. Check your tongue position, see if you can rest the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Use that tongue position to help, almost like lift and support the head. And then stepping out, opening your eyes, gentle brush down. Brilliant. Thank you for joining as always. Friday Launch and Learn. If you haven't signed up for that, just go onto the website adventuresinmovement.com/launch-and-learn, and that will give you the link to be able to sign up for that on Zoom. It's 1 till 2 on Friday with Barbara Pidgeon. So it's going to be an interesting one, talking about energy. I had a session yesterday with a couple of coaches, and we were talking about, when we talk about rest, it's not just about not doing anything. So it's about active rest, conscious rest, how you can recharge during the day, gathering energy as you're doing stuff, so that you're not just depleting energy. So hopefully you feel energized and ready for your day, and I'll see you hopefully on Friday. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye bye.